I've talked about the fact before, about people's love for the characters that have shape-shifting abilities and stuff like that. And I have to basically say it right now. I have to just come out here and say it right now that when it comes to a lot of people that artistically bring that kind of stuff to life, 3, if not 2 out of the 3 are up at top of that list for as far as they go. The 3 I want to talk about, of course, are SM Fantasies, or SM Stretch, depending on where you find her, TroubleTRO, and Jovian16. Now, most of these you can find at DeviantArt. Most of them you can find at DeviantArt, but also you can find them at Patreon. And it's at Patreon where you can get an exclusive look at the work depending on the tier that you support them with. Now, there are others that I've talked about as well, like Mr. Internet Man, Ant-Zulson, or AZ, with their characters, Demonica and Morphica, and how much I respect and appreciate the effort they put into those stories. But when I talk about taking it to another level artistically, these 3, if not the 2 that I'm going to focus on the most, really do that. I mean, artistically, SM Fantasies, SM Stretch, if you will, she basically creates something that goes from line drawn to inked to, drawn, to colored in to cell shaded, whatever. She basically creates her characters artistically in a way that you're looking at something that could be on the cover of a Marvel or DC magazine just from the artistic style, or at least it reminds you of that. However, when it comes to Jovian16 and TroubleTRO, they take it to another level. Now, SM Fantasy, I gotta give her all the credit in the world. Apparently, she's one, if not the person that coined the term Melting May for the month of May, where basically, she focuses on characters, mostly females, and I say that with all due respect, no offense, that basically are drawn or written to become melted. In other words, turned into puddles of goop or something like that, all because of heat or heat-related issues. And I think, honestly, the reason she also termed May as the month of melting is because, as I've said before, this month, or this past month, is always known for its various temperatures that depending on where you live across the country and across the world, could range from cool to warm to extremely hot. And when you get to that extremely hot, it does feel like you're melting. Whether you have air conditioning on or you don't, and you should, it makes it feel like you're melting, especially when you step outside. So, my opinion, from my point of view, I think that's why she termed the month of May Melting May. And I got to give her credit for that because she does follow through on that artistically with the artwork of some of her main characters like Karen and May themselves. But when it comes to the shape-shifting girls, liquefied girls, melty girls trope, and taking it to another level, like I said, I have to go with Jovian16 and TroubleTRO. Because they basically take it to another level artistically by basically bringing their characters to, as the old saying would goes, SFM 3D CGI life. That's right, SFM 3D CGI life. And it's really amazing how they do this. And this is why you have people like TroubleTRO and Jovian16 on Patreon most of the time, or why they exclusively share the content depending on the tier that you pay for to support them, on Patreon, because financially it takes money to make some of this happen. It takes money to make sure the software is up to date, or they get the right kind of software to complete the stories, if you will. I mean, one of the stories that, let's say, I think it's Jovian16 is working on is called Nano Shift. And from what I understand, Nano Shift is focused on a girl that is basically infected with these nanobots, and these nanobots physically in and out of her body transform it to be able to do whatever she wants it to do, and basically shapeshift, liquefy, whatever, whenever she needs it. And it also basically allowed her to develop a second personality, something like a conscience that aggressively, if you will, is encouraging her to embrace her new abilities. And in the latest preview of NanoShift, she's allowed that second personality to come out because she has to go on a mission. And what's noticed, and what we see in this preview, is her looking like she's morphing, shape-shifting into a motorcycle. Which, again, if you did a regular drawing of it, or if you did a written story of it, that would be a lot easier, that would be a lot quicker to get it done and show it off. But here, this is just proof that, there are people willing to go out of the way, take time out of the schedule to make this happen, make this a reality, but they do it with the support of others that want to see it happen. And those that want to see it happen are those that are fans of the same trope that people like TroubleTRO and Jovian16 are fans of as well. They support it in that manner. And again, and here's the thing, Jovian16 is not the only one that does this. TroubleTRO does it as well. They got a story that near the verge of completing as we speak, that they've done in coalition with Mr. Internet Man. But TroubleTRO also has a story called Pink Benefits. And Pink Benefits is about a couple of girls that have basically identical powers, shape-shifting powers that allows them to turn into anybody they want, or, as we find out with one of them, evolves them to the point that they become like a slime girl, but now they have the ability not just to become anybody they want, but to become anything. And we kind of get a preview of that in a picture for an upcoming chapter. And again, this just shows you the appreciation and respect that you have to have for people that are willing to go out of the way, and instead of just simply drawing it, old school style and all that, they're willing to go to that upteenth level and bring it basically to 3D life. Bring it to 3D life, and I guess give you an idea of what it would look like if they decided, hey, what if we turned this into an animated movie or series? What would happen? Kind of let your imagination run wild, if you know what I mean. And, SM Fantasies is the same way too. Even though she doesn't draw on the same level as they do, she's willing to go as far as she has to, depending on what, what tier you select for her. And she does go far. There's no doubt about it. She does go far. But in the end, what I'm trying to get at is when you look at what these three can do, mostly the two I've mentioned, Joven and Trouble, you have to have nothing but respect and appreciation, admiration for that. Yes, it does take finances, financial support from others for them to make this happen, but it shows you that, if you have people like Joven and Trouble obviously showcasing that they're fans of the liquefied, melting, shape-shifting girl type, and they have others that support them financially to make it a reality, then, who are we to argue? Who are we to argue? We have to respect it, because it's great. And it also shows you that for some odd, strange reason, and I'm sure a lot of people will look at it that way, people are fans of this. They like it. Because I think what it does is it allows them to picture in their head, what would it be like to have that kind of ability? What would it be like just to, have that kind of ability to melt down into a puddle of ooze and just remain that way for the rest of the day, act non-existent, or be able to shapeshift yourself into, I don't know, a plushy teddy bear and remain that way for the rest of the week, and act like you're just that bear. Do what you meant to be, or do what you shaped yourself into do, as any plush would do. Stuff like that. It makes your imagination run wild and make you wonder what would it be like if that kind of stuff was real. Just saying. But yeah, I have nothing but respect and appreciation for them, for what they do, and I hope they continuously do it. I mean, and look, I get it. Not a lot of people like waiting, but you know what? Patience makes everything. Patience makes everything. And the way they are presenting these, I can almost guarantee, I think, and I truly believe that they are preparing basically to, but almost in consideration, they are almost considering, maybe they're thinking about it, maybe they're working on it, but maybe they're on the verge of wanting to publicly publish these as stories that you can buy physically in a store, physically online through places like Amazon, or buy digitally. Maybe they're thinking about that, and maybe that's why they're putting all their time and effort into it. But who am I to say? But in the end, guys, like I said, it really shows you, how much people love a certain trope, are fans of it, and how much others that are fans of it as well, support it as well, especially if they help financially support those that want to bring that love for that trope to life themselves. So I suggest that if you're on Patreon, support SM Fantasy, support Jovian16, support TroubleTRO. You will not regret it. And you might even find yourself appreciating, what they are willing to do in the long run as well. But until next time, though, guys, that's all I'm going to say. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.